Hello, welcome back to Farmer's Wife Homestead. I'm Stacey. If this is the first time we're meeting, we are going to be making two fabulous soups. Both of them are easily adapted into the slow cookers. One of them we will be using the slow cooker, and that's the tomato tortellini soup, and then the other one is a broccoli pea soup with ricotta, and we're going to do that on the stovetop, but I'm sure you'd be able to do it in a slow cooker just as much. So I'm going to bring you straight down, and we're going to start prepping some of the vegetables. We're going to do both the soups at the same time. I also grabbed, obviously I'm still at my daughter and son-in-law's, I've grabbed a couple of containers, and we're going to pop some in the freezer, so if they ever want a bit of soup, then they've got some in the freezer. So that's why we're going to make two at the same time. So both soups have some similar ingredients. So we're just going to prep up that. The carrot is going into the tortellini soup, which will be blended as well. So just going to rough chop these. I'm going to start on the tortellini soup first because that's the one that's going in the slow cooker. Obviously you could still do it on the stove top if you like, if you want a quicker meal. The thing with the tortellini is I would probably leave the tortellini out if you're going to freeze it. Simply because pasta doesn't freeze that well. So you could add the base mix and then add the tortellini when you go to cook it, if you want to use the slow cooker and freeze it. So as I said, it's all just going to be blitzed, so we're just going to rough chop. And we've got tomatoes, garlic, some spinach is going to go into this, some herbs, got a couple of stalks of celery. If you've got the greenest celery, so can you see that that one's a lot darker in colour, so it's like the outer stems. They tend to be a little bit more woodier. Actually that celery piece is not too good. I do have some more over here, so that's alright. So what you can do is get your peeler and just peel the outer woody bit, and that takes away the string as well. Just for those really bright green outer leaves, stems I should say, or stalks. Obviously, if you don't like celery or you don't like onion, whatever, just mix and match. Right, so that's the veg prepared for that one. Now we've got the broccoli pea soup. Got some onion. This is also going to be blitzed, so just a rough chop is fine. Also going to do some croutons for this one for that crunchy texture. Okay, and we've got a nice big head of broccoli, which I'm just going to trim down. And I'm just going to peel, it's probably easier with a knife. Peel that broccoli stalk, and then we will cut it up thinly and use it in the soup as well. It's got quite a lot of flavour. So if you were doing this in a pot, you would just saute those vegetables first, but we are just going to pop it all into the slow cooker. And 2 tins of tomatoes. And I did get a comment about me not taking the lids off. Don't worry, I do that after the fact. I just don't bother doing it while I'm filming. But over here in New Zealand, we recycle a lot. So the lids come off, we wash it out, and it goes into the recycling and it gets reused. So on the whole, most households recycle and they don't end up in the landfill. So rest assured, that's what I do. Just because I don't show everything doesn't mean I don't do things. Okay, and I'm also just going to rinse it out with the required amount of water. I'm starting out with 500 grams, or 500 mils of water, sorry. And you could use chicken stock or vegetable stock, but I've got this vegeta, so I'm just going to use that. That's it for now, and then I will come back when we're up to the next stage. Okay, so that's just a set and forget soup, and I'm going to move on over to the stovetop and let's start the broccoli soup. I need these 2 ingredients. Okay, I'm just going to use a bit of oil, and we're just going to lightly fry off the celery and the onion. Forgot to mention I also added basil and oregano, dried basil and dried oregano to the tortellini soup. And the broccoli stalks are also in here. So we're just going to saute this until they start to soften. And then we're going to add the stock and the broccoli and the peas. Right, this is almost tender, but what I'm going to do is just finish cooking them off in the stock. I don't want to add the broccoli yet because these are not tender enough, but if you're finding that your onions and that are starting to catch on the bottom, you can just add the liquid and finish cooking them like that. And I've got some garlic here. Obviously, if you don't like garlic, you can leave that out. And I put salt and pepper in before. Right, so I'm just going to let that cook on a simmer until those veggies are nice and tender, and then we're going to pop in the broccoli that I've sort of like chopped down. And you don't want to cook them too long because you still want to keep the vibrant green, and just until it's able to be blended. I've also kept some celery, some tender celery leaves for the garnish, but mint would be better, but I don't think we've got any mint. Going to add in the broccoli. Might just put in a little extra stock. Right, add in the peas and just bring that to the simmer until the broccoli is just tender. beautiful vibrant soup, and the peas help to make that happen. Now I've just tested it for seasoning and it's perfect. Now let's plate this up. Okay, so I've just got the soup and I've just put a little bit of that beautiful oil over the top, and then you can put some of the ricotta, just dot that into it. It's quite nice to leave it as a topping rather than mixing it into the soup, because it will take the vibrancy away. Just put as much as you like in there. And then I've just got some sourdough croutons. Just going to go over the top. And you just want, if you have mint, use mint, but I can get away with celery because there's celery in the actual soup. So that's it, plated up. Here we go. Here's the broccoli with ricotta. Sorry for the shadowing. Beautiful soup. Right, let's give it a try. I'm going to try and get a little bit of the ricotta in there as well. Whew. Hot. Well, that's quite delicious actually. You can't taste the peas too much. With the crunch of the sourdough is really nice. It's delicious. I'm not a huge fan of broccoli itself, but if you love broccoli, you're going to love this. Well balanced flavours. Just also wanted to mention with that soap, ricotta is super expensive. This is the ricotta that I grabbed today. It was $6 for 250 grams. You could use just plain cream, evaporated milk, plain milk, or you can just leave the dairy out altogether. No problems. You could even like put a bit of cheese over the top instead, grated cheese. But I just wanted to try something different, and the ricotta looked quite nice. You can actually make ricotta very, very easily as well. I make mine in the Thermomix, so let me know if that's something that you'd be interested in watching how to make. Right, the lighting's a little bit funny today because it's a sort of quite a cold wintry day. I've got the tortellini soup down here, and all the veggies were nice and softened from cooking in the slow cooker. And then I'm going to add some cream, 300 ml of cream, and then I'm going to add the tortellini. Now I've just grabbed 300 grams of the Delamain chicken and basil tortellini. That's the one that I decided to go with, but get whatever flavour you like. You can mix and match, it'll be quite nice. Right, now the inside of the tortellini is already cooked. These ones here are already cooked, so you're basically just continuing to cook it until it's al dente. So we're going to pop on all the rest of these ingredients and then pop it back in the slow cooker for, I don't know, half an hour to an hour. I haven't done this one in the slow cooker, so I'm trialing it in the slow cooker, so let's see how that goes. I have also added a tiny little bit of brown sugar and some balsamic vinegar. If you've been here for a long time, you know that when I use tomato products, I like to add balsamic vinegar and a little brown sugar just to counteract things. I'm having a test taste. That's really good. It needs some salt and pepper, and the cream itself is going to give it a bit of sweetness as well, strangely enough. Love black pepper. Okay, so add the cream. You could use evaporated milk, you could use plain milk if you don't want to use cream. That's not a problem to do that. What else are we going to do? Yeah, so we're just going to pop these tortellini in. And we're going to add some spinach just before it's finished cooking. All right, we'll come back when it's the next step. All right, so I've turned it off. I think it's been about half an hour, and I'm going to bring it down and show you. And the way I knew that it was ready was I just basically took one of the tortellinis out and tried it, and it was hot, and it's al dente and all beautiful and unctuous. Now I've just got a bag of frozen spinach. Good to see that she's freezing her spinach like I do. And we're just going to take some and crush some up on top of that soup. Don't have to have too much in there, but just enough to give it some extra flavour and colour. And we're going to stir that through, and then we will plate it up, and we are going to top it with a little bit of, you could put some fresh basil in now as well. I don't have any fresh basil, so that's fine. And I tasted this and it tastes absolutely stunning. So we're going to top it with a little bit of grated fresh parmesan. So just stir through the spinach. It doesn't need to cook, it will cook within that heat. All right. Oh, yum. And I reckon this is going to be quite filling. Perfect. Just going to put one more tortellini up the top there. Beautiful tortellini soup. Alright, another brilliant slow cooker recipe, or stovetop, it's up to you. It's basically just like a beautiful creamy tomato soup with some beautiful fresh tortellini in there, and it's just divine. Try it without the tortellini. The added addition of the tortellini is lovely. So there you go. Oh, this lighting's terrible. Look at the bags under my eyes. Oh, I need a holiday for my holiday. Right. Thank you for joining me. And I do hope you enjoyed today's episode of a couple of soups and a couple of another slow cooker ideas. And I look forward to creating more for you. And hope you're well, and I'll hope to see you on the next one. All right, this is me. This is my lunch. Bye for now.